Hello Wolfpack, absolutely massive daily candle for Bitcoin yesterday, and we have finally reached our medium-term target for Bitcoin, right? Our medium-term target was a scoot back to the bottom of this channel formation, of this bear flag formation, right? You have the flagpole here, you have the consolidation period, and eventually you're going to see a move downwards, right? That is a bear flag formation. That's what we're seeing here on Bitcoin, and we've reach for medium-term target, which is scooping back to the bottom of the bear flag. And now, the thing that lies between Bitcoin crashing and Bitcoin staying in this level is whether or not we can hold this formation here, come up for a little bit of consolidation and another retest to the top before a crash, or just crash straight away, right? That's the two scenarios here for Bitcoin. I don't see a scenario in which Bitcoin breaks out. I haven't seen a scenario in which Bitcoin breaks out, since November, late November, since I've been bearish from 60k. And so, yeah, no, I don't think Bitcoin's going to break to the upside. And if it does, where would that price target be? Well, we need to break out of this bear flag formation to the upside, right? That would be confirmation that we do break to the upside. And actually continue a macro trend upwards. But until we break this bear flag formation to the upside, which honestly could be a break of 49k at this point, we're still bearish for Bitcoin because we're still in a bear flag formation with descending volume and no real sign of bullishness at all, other than the fact that, we moved upwards, but we moved upwards within a bearish structure, so it doesn't really make sense, right? Now, this daily candle is quite interesting. We've actually closed just slightly below the bear flag formation, below the ascending channel formation. However, I won't consider that a breakdown just yet. I don't think that's convincing enough. I think we need to close a bit further below it than that. And if we wanted to be honest with ourselves, we could even say that the bear flag formation is stemming from these two lows. And so I wouldn't consider this bear flag broken until we actually drop below, say, 36 or 37, depending on where it is, K, right? I'd consider it still in the bear flag. This is the short-term ascending channel formation, but this is kind of a longer-term support line here. And so, yeah, I wouldn't consider this a breakdown as of yet. Do I think a breakdown's coming? Yeah, for sure, as I just said, and as I've been saying since the start of this bear flag formation, I think we're going to break downwards. And I think Bitcoin is going to go to 24k as per the 4-year cycle theory. You can pause the video here and watch that, or you can go and watch my 4-year cycle theory video I did before, right? The top in November was completely as predicted. Or as predicted by this theory, I should say, and the bottom, as predicted by this theory, will be anywhere in Q4 this year, most likely at 24k, right, where the 200-week SMA will be. That's been the prediction for a long time now, over 5 months, while everyone else is flipping bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. I'm actually looking at the facts, looking at the situation from an objective standpoint, and coming at it with a conclusion that I've stuck with all the way through. It seems to be playing out quite well. Now, the S&P 500 has rejected from critical resistance, and so I would expect that to trend downwards to the bottom here at around 4,100. If it doesn't do that, we can stack that up to a manipulation, because this is what the price action is telling us. This is a descending wedge structure, and so we can expect a break to the upside in the future based off TA, and that would line up with a pre-recession pump, which we've seen the start of already. And so the S&P 500 might not be done rallying yet, and hence Bitcoin could still see another dead cat bounce for sure. But the DXY, as of right now, is still pumping massively, which is bearish for Bitcoin. It's just reached 100, which is a big milestone. That's faced resistance from that region in the past, and that's continuously pumping to kind of no stop, no end here. And that's very, very bad for Bitcoin. DXY pumps, that's the US dollar pumping against other currencies. US dollar gets stronger, Bitcoin gets weaker. That's just how it works. When this thing goes up, Bitcoin goes down. It's been like that for years now. It's since 2017, ever since Bitcoin was big enough to be considered something like that. Looking at something like Ethereum has dropped within that triangular structure. It was actually a bearish pennant structure. We broke to the upside briefly, but it's dropped back within it, and the total cryptocurrency market cap as well has dropped back within that structure. What's worth noting is that the total cryptocurrency market cap is edging or leaning towards, or getting closer and closer towards this uptrending resistance line that's been forming since around the start of 2021. If we drop that, that is a kiss goodbye to the cryptocurrency market for at least 6 months, because that's not going to recover quickly at all. So it's not looking good at all, actually, and it hasn't looked good for a while, and this is what we've been saying a lot. But if we're looking at something a little bit more compelling, and as of Bitcoin right now, all we can really say about it is that, well, everything's just looking pretty bearish, and we could see a little swing upwards here before we crash, but ultimately it's really not a stretch to believe that a crash is on the way for Bitcoin downwards towards that 30k region. That would be the first stop, right? 30k, we'd probably consolidate a bit there, and then we'd make that final move down to 24k towards the end of the year, right? But there is a theory that would contradict that, and we're going to look into this quite extensively in a video coming out later today, but we'll look at it briefly now. right? And that theory is based off the fact that, well, as you can see here, I think I might have a better chart to display this. We have a better chart here, but it doesn't show, it's all right, we'll show this chart now. Okay, so this is a fractal taken directly from 2018 during this period, and we've also got the red line, which is the 50, and the green line, which is the 200 MAs on this screen here on the 3-day chart, okay? The fractal is quite accurate. You can see it's played out perfectly here, and you can see that the compression we're seeing between the 50 and the 200 is very similar to that of 2018. Eventually, when it came to a cross, we crashed 50% on Bitcoin. These two lines will be crossing, and we looked at this last video, in around May, and there is reason to believe that in May, Bitcoin will start a crash of around probably a bit less than 50%, because 50% was last bull market's crash, which obviously we have to take into account diminishing returns. So around 40% crash down to 24K would make sense, right? So there might be a big market crash coming in around May, or if we're going by the fractal, could be around September or August, right? It's very debatable as to when it will be. The point is, when these two lines connect, right, when these 50 and 200 connect and cross, which is going to be next month, that will be a very bearish indicator for Bitcoin. Okay, that will be a death cross on the 3-day chart, which is very bearish, right? And that led to that big crash last time. So there's no reason to believe it won't do it again, considering how closely you're following last bull market's price action. But ultimately, just to look into what we've said in this video briefly, and there's really not too much to add, because although, yeah, we've moved down quite a bit, although we've lost a massive amount of bullish structures, we've lost a descending wedge, a descending channel on the shorter term, we've lost 42K, we've lost the 50, we've lost the 100, we've lost everything. Although we've lost so much, there's really not much to talk about still. Why? Well, because we're doing what we've expected, and we're doing what we talk about every video, and that is that we're going to go downwards, right? And we're just going downwards now. It's just playing out. And so I think the next, for example, if we look at the 3-day chart on something like the Coinbase chart, and I can show you one of the critical indicators that I'm looking at. This is very important, so you might want to stick around for this one. Let me get up the Coinbase chart right now. 1 second, misspelling USD there. What is very critical here, and what is very interesting to look at, is how much for 200-day on the 3-day chart, right, is acting as support, okay? And this is just like 2018, as we just said. The support coming from this is amazing, and we can expect, based off that fractal, the support to continue until these lines cross each other. And so there is reason to believe here, because of that there could be another dead cat bounce, as explained in the last video, up to, like, I don't know, 42, 44K, something like that. Maybe not 46. 42, 44K, there is reason to believe we'll see one more bounce before these lines cross and before we crash downwards on Bitcoin, right? There is reason to believe that is going to happen, right? And that crash in May isn't really my prediction. It's kind of just a theory that I'm basing off some other evidence here. I don't really have a set in stone concrete prediction as to when we will bottom out on Bitcoin in the bear market. There's multiple different compelling theories, right? There's the November-December theory based off the 4-year cycle. There's also the theory based off the 250-day cross, right? 53-day cross, which is coming from, this chart here, which would say probably May to June. Very hard to say. What we can say is it's going to be this year, and it's going to be at the 200-week SMA, wherever that is, probably around 24K to 22K, right? But that's what I'm looking at here on the 3-day chart, and that's closing in 24 hours, this candle. And so in the next video, we'll talk about this. If we close a 3-day candle below the 200 on the 3-day chart, that would be an indication that the support that has held the Bitcoin price up throughout the entirety of the last 4 months has failed to hold, and that would be an indication we're going straight down for a retest of 30K within the next few weeks here on Bitcoin. Now, you will remember that I originally said last month that Bitcoin will probably be reaching 30K within the month of April, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say that that's still standing true. I think either within the month of April or within, probably early to mid-May, somewhere in the next month, I would say Bitcoin's going to be at that 30K region, right? I'm still standing by that. That's still the case in my personal opinion. So let's see what happens here on Bitcoin. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Just bearish price action as usual, just playing out as the TA would suggest from a logical perspective. I'd encourage you not to let your emotions get the better of you here. I think that everyone who's been bullish here is simply just not looking at the reality of the situation. On-chain data is basically astrology at this point. You can get on any on-chain data, you can get any chart to support your opinion. There's so many of them. What we can look at on a fundamental level, this is bullish, this is a descending channel, this is bearish, this is an ascending channel. It really doesn't need to be more complicated than that, right? That's what it is on Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the Crypto Academy if you want to learn how to trade. Got a trading course there, developing with Medware Crypto. Check out the pinned comment. That's very important. I want you all to do that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.